Hey guys, welcome to part 29 of the GTO Trainer. First hand, we open on the button with Ace 4 suited, get 3 bet from the small blind. Folds back, well, big blind then folds. I could definitely see both. I don't think a 3, correction, I don't think a 4 bets here is going to be good any of the time. Maybe at a small frequency. I know Ace 5 would be in order to balance out our 4 betting range. I think Ace 4 might be at a very, very low percentage. Like I'm talking like 5-10% maybe. So I think it's mostly between a fold and a call here. I can definitely hear a call given the implied odds. Then I can also hear a fold in terms of we're going to be outkicked in a lot of situations. Putting a lot of we might like best case scenario where 60-40 with someone, or potentially what about so it's either 60-40 or 70-30 with someone. I can see either way. I'm going to elect to call, however. Play in position, heads up in position, hand with some post-flop potential. Utilize implied odds to make up for any equity disparity. But when they take about a 1/5 sizing on a Queen 10-6 board, we do have backdoor spades, but nothing else really going for us, so I elect to fold. Okay, so it should have been a fold at 100% frequency. That makes sense if we have a look at the hero summary here. So as you can see, we are opening very, very wide from the button. Small blind, 3 betting decently tight, but still a little bit wide, mostly because we're opening from a wide position, so they can open a little bit wider as a result. Ace 5, I knew that one. That one was definitely there. That's even a fold, a majority. So it seems like we're folding majority, and then okay, so that makes it okay. I can hear that. I thought the idea was, we do have some implied odds there. And it's saying we should be coming in with a 3 bet. I'm guessing to try and balance out our 3 bets on the flop there. Ace high isn't really good, I don't think. Versus a lot of just their continuation. Yeah, they're probably just range betting mostly. Maybe we're trying to just kind of isolate and see where we're at mostly. But yeah, definitely don't. I understand the fold pre-flop. I definitely would have leaned towards it. I just figured, considering we're in position, implied odds, and try to balance out our calling range there. But then I don't really understand a 3 bet on the flop really at all. Moving on to the next hand, exact same situation, but this time with King 9, so that's just going to be a standard fold. King 9 just going to be outkicked in a lot of situations, not a lot of equity to fall back on. Very polarizing hand. We either hit King top kicker or, King top pair or nothing, essentially. Some suited garbage facing a cutoff open in the big blind, just a standard fold. Next hand, over from the hijack, we're on the button with Queen Jack suited. I can definitely hear a raise, I can definitely hear a call. I definitely don't think it's a fold. So what about late middle position open, decently wide. So I could definitely hear a 3 bet here to try to just isolate, make sure none of the blinds come in behind. So that's what I'm going to elect to do. Just make sure we're isolating the hijack here, not letting either of the blinds come in behind. They check and flow, so they call and then check. Board comes 10-8, 4-2 spades. So we have a gut shot and a flush draw. So we're going to continue with about a 1/3 sizing. They then raise. So what, we have to call a further 10 to win 26. So we have to call a further 10. So they check raise us. They could be check raising with 10s, check raising with 8s. Check raising, they probably don't have aces, they don't have kings. They could have maybe queens, maybe jacks, but I'm definitely ranging them on 10s, 8s. Maybe 9. We are blocking 9 jack, for example, an open ender. And then we also have the blockers of the queen as well there as well. So I feel like we definitely have clean outs to a spade. We don't have any clean outs to a jack. We don't have any clean outs to a queen. So we're pretty much just playing the 8 outs there. So that's about 32% equity. We need to call a further 10 to win 31, 36 big. So profitable call. So we're going to call here. King rolls off, so now we have a open-ended straight flush draw and a flush. Well, so we have a flush with a redraw to a straight flush. They then check. So we believe they have 10s, 8s. We don't believe they would be able to fold. We also don't want a 5th spade to roll off. We don't want a one-liner to come out. For example, if a 9 comes out or if a jack comes out, bringing in one-liners, so we don't want any of those to come out to kill the action. So I reckon we can definitely go big here. So I'm kind of leaning towards like a 39. I could definitely hear an all-in, thinking that 10s or 8s won't be able to fold. But I'm going to go with a big sizing here. They shove, we call, and so okay. So they're saying okay. So they're saying I should have checked back. I'm guessing the idea is try to, what's it called? I guess, yeah, no, that sizing does kind of not achieve too much, and considering that it just kind of just creates an SBR type of level. But I was, yeah. So they check. So we're ranging them on 10s and 8s because of the check raise. They have something of value that they want to protect, and they can't have an overpair realistically. And we're blocking a lot of their straight draws that they could be, and also blocking a lot of their spade draws as well. So we're really only ranging them on 10s and 8s. And we just didn't believe that they were going to fold. That's what the reason behind my sizing. But then I can also definitely hear a check in terms of hope that they can bluff off on the river. But my thought process is that we don't want a action-killing river to roll off, such as like a 4 spade. So if 4 spade came out, we wouldn't get any value from 10s, and we wouldn't get any value from 8s. If a one-liner came out, we wouldn't get any value from 10s or 8s, for example, or 10-8 2 pair, for example. Like, we wouldn't get any value from those, so we want to pile in the money before any action killers come out, was my thought process. But they're saying check, I'm guessing mostly to hopefully get them to bluff off, and I'm guessing that small sizing as well is mostly designed to just create an SBR of around 1, less than 1, so that they feel priced in, and that they're pretty much incentivized just to call with their 10s and 8s, pretty much on any clean river that doesn't put out a one-liner to a flush or a straight. But we do just have, when we what's it called? When we raise and we call the check raise, it's pretty easy to put us on open-enders. It's pretty easy to put us on spade draws, for example, and pretty much the king of spades gets every draw there. So I can definitely hear the check in that fashion, that all the draws have gotten there. We want them to not think that we've hit our draws. We want them to think of something else. But realistically, what else would we... Like, if they have 10s and 8s, they're blocking our 10s, they're blocking our 8s. Yes, we could have potentially some overpairs. That would probably check on the turn there as well, and would probably call the re-raise, and no one to pile anymore. But they might even... an overpair might do a 4-bet on the flop there, potentially. So I guess like they could still be in there, for example. You can't completely rule them out. That would be a little bit too soon to try to rule those out. So I reckon they're still definitely there. But yeah, the king of spades kind of brings in everything, so it's very hard to get paid in that situation. So I can understand like the check to try to incentivize them bluffing off, or them thinking that they still have the best hand and them wanting to almost value own themselves. There was another, yeah, so it was this one. So they're saying so we should have gone about half pot. Um, I can definitely see that, try to build up this pot. We've got plenty and plenty and plenty of equity. So yeah, I can definitely hear the half pot here. And then, yeah, 100% a call there. No need to really raise anymore. And then king rolls off. So yeah, they're saying check back. So yeah, okay. So I can definitely, I think, so yeah, apart from the turn sizing, I would much rather do that 15 bigs, try to set up an SPR of less than 1 or in and around 1. To try and get all the money in on the river. I'd definitely hear that one, and I think I would much prefer that line, and I think I like that line, rather than going with that like 75% that pretty much only leaves about like half pot behind or something. Goes back to, we did this in a lot of episodes in the fashion of, if you're pre-flop, if you're gonna call and create an SBR of in and around 1 on the flop, you're better off taking that initiative, denying equity pre-flop, and just getting all the money in pre-flop. So I'm guessing it's kind of a similar idea here. In terms of if you're going to go 75% pot, you're probably better off just going all in, or at least, but the better decision is to set yourself up for the all-in on the river to try and make it really incentivized for them to be calling you. So moving on to the next hand, we open on the button with King Jack suited. We get 3-bet by the big blind. So it's going to be a wider 3-bet from the big blind here. I can definitely hear a call. I don't think a 3-bet here makes any sense. Would be isolating way too strong of a big blind range. Yes, we could take down 13 bigs potentially, but would be isolating way too much of a strong range from the big blind should they call. And we also invite ourselves to a 5-bet that we just have to snap fold to. I don't think folding's fully on the table here when we're suited like this. Yes, there's a lot of outkick situations where we could lose a big hand, given that, Jack's a very good kicker in the fashion that we might get a little bit too married to it. But the suited definitely adds a good element to it. So I'm going to lean towards a call here, to kind of take our position. Is kind of the main reason. Like A, so we're suited, that adds a lot of equity, and B, we're in position. So we can be, and especially when it's a little bit of a wider 3-bet from the big blind, because we've opened a very wide button range, we can be calling with a little bit of a wider range as well. So board comes Jack 10-9. So we have top pair and a gut shot. They check and flow. So they could have some pocket pairs here. No, so they're still the pre-flop aggressor. We have more suited cards here, so we have some more spades. They could have just a naked king of spades, ace of spades, for example. That would probably be calling. But considering that we do have a very vulnerable hand that does want a little bit of protection, as they could still have just a naked queen. They could have the same as us, just a king. They're probably not going to have much 8x, for example, to have that open-ender. They're not going to have queen 8, for example. They could have king queen, and we might be value owning ourselves, but I do like, so I'm thinking either we go really, really small with that's a 1/5 pot. That's about a 1/3 pot. I'm going to lean towards about a 1/5 pot. Then we get 3-bet, top pair, good kicker. What could they be 3-betting us with here? We are blocking jacks. They could have 10s, they could have 9s, they can't have queen 8. But then obviously they could also just be doing this with the naked ace of spades, naked king of spades, for example. we're blocking like King Jack, we're blocking Ace King, well, we're not blocking any of the spades, for example. I'd much rather have a spade in my hand to continue. So I reckon this is an easy fold. So there's a call? I don't really see a call there. Okay, so yeah, probably should have checked back. Okay. So on a dry monotone board, probably check back. I definitely don't. I can definitely hear the check back there, 100%. But I definitely can't hear the call here. I don't see any reason to call here unless we had a spade, unless we had some form of blocker. Like, yeah, sure, you can kind of say, okay, we're blocking top pair jack, which is probably the main vulnerable thing that you would, like, bottom of range that you would be raising here with. But I just don't see any value in continuing here, because I just don't see anything that we're beating. Well, the only thing that we're beating is the naked ace of spades, the naked king of spades, for example. But I reckon they would most likely just kind of call and see a turn rather than trying to get in the money, maybe, or maybe they're just trying to protect their equity. But yeah, I just don't really see. They're far more, if they're raising here, they're far more weighted to something that requires protection. And we're not beating anything that requires protection. Like, we're not beating 10s, we're not beating 9s, we're not beating Jack 10. We're not beating, obviously, Ace Jack. The only, like, value that we're beating is Queen Jack, Queen 10, King 10, Ace 10, Ace 10 with a spade, maybe Ace 9 with a spade, for example, the Ace of Spades. And then there's definitely, like, I mean, bottom of range, they have to have a spade here, or they have a better jack, realistically, is what I'm thinking. So I just don't really see moving forward with a call there at all. I could definitely hear just the check back on a very dry, static, monotone board. Moving on to the next hand, we open the cutoff with, no correction, hijack opens, we then 3-bet in the cutoff. Folds around, and then a 4-bet from the hijack. This is going to be a standard fold. Offsuit broadways get you into a lot of trouble, essentially. So I think even King Jack would be a fold here. Oh no, King Jack's a call, my bad. But yeah, so we need, that suited just adds far more equity, and enough equity to make it worth it. And just gives us a little bit more playability, especially when we're in position. Whereas the offsuit, just that lack of extra equity, just makes it a very easy snap fold, in the fashion that, you know, we're going to be out-kicked in a lot of situations up against a 4-bet range there. And it's one of those kickers where we might get ourselves into danger, getting too attached to it, and overplaying our hand. Next hand here, under the gun +1 opens. We've got some suited garbage, snap fold. Moving on to the next hand, exact same situation. This time we got some suited beauties. I could see a 3-bet here to balance out our 3-bet range, but I think this prefers a call. We don't really want to be overbloating the pot when we're out of position. I could also hear the 3-bet to try to isolate, not allow the big blind to come in behind, given that they're going to get a really, really good price here. But I just see, especially up against it under the gun +1 range, we don't want to really be isolating their really, really top of range, even though, you know, these like suited connector hands do play the best against it. We just still, we want to keep their range decently wide here. And also the pot nice and small to avoid playing a big pot out of position. So flop comes 7-4-4 or rainbow. We're going to check and flow. Ace X, you would expect to kind of stab here, thinking that they're going to be good a lot of the times. Yes, we do have some more like 8-7, 6-7, for example. We do have a little bit of 4X as well, like 5-4 suited. I don't really think we're going to be as... maybe... we might have 6-4 potentially, but probably not. 10 rolls off, brings in a backdoor diamonds draw. We're going to once again check. Not a whole lot going on for us here. Yes, we do have some 10x. Backdoor diamonds complete. I don't really see any value in trying to bluff at this. I reckon we would just get snapped off by a lot of things unless we go for a big overbet. So we're going to check one more time, get the check back. And they're saying so. Okay, so they're saying so we should have gone for okay. So they're saying we should have gone for the overbet. Try to take down the pot. Try to bluff off a better hand. As I would have thought that an ace high probably would have stabbed at the flop, given that it was just a paired board, and then would probably snap fold. But yeah, I guess they've given us enough rope. They've shown no interest in the pot. And then you would have to go for a little bit of an overbet there. I reckon the 1.5 sizing won't really bluff out anything, but I could definitely see the 7.5 sizing bluffing off ace high with pretty ease. They're saying, they're also saying we should have even gone for a little bet on the turn as well, given that it highly does favor our suit connectors. Like we got some 9-10 in there. We got some decent amount of 10x, for example, that they could range us on. That they won't really have. They don't have as many combos of 10x, and they definitely don't have many combos of 7x. Pretty much just 8-7 suited. Was correction, sorry. Ace-7 suited. Maybe some suited connectors at a very, very low frequency, but we have far more combos at a higher frequency. So that this low board does give us range advantage over them, so I can definitely see how we should have probably stabbed at it, and yeah, it does make sense to me, especially when they don't bet on the flop. They're definitely screaming that they don't have a strong ace-x, as a strong ace-x would probably do a standard continuation bet. On a paired board, a strong ace-x is very strong and often very, very good in a lot of situations. Moving on to the next hand. So we open under the gun +1, get 3-bet by under the gun +2. So it's going to be a very tight, strong under the gun +2 3-betting range. Folds all the way back around to us. We 4-bet with the ace-4 suited in order to balance out our 4-betting bluffs. Then they jam all in. This is going to be an easy snap fold. We're not beating any value. We're not beating any value, outkicked in a lot of situations, and best case scenario, which this one was, we're about, 70-30, I believe it is. So yeah, pretty easy snap fold. Moving on to the next hand, low jack opens, we're in the cutoff with some offsuit garbage. Going to be nice, easy standard fold to finish up. So 10 hands, I believe. 10 hands, 19 moves, 68% GTO score, probably one of our worst ones in a while. Just a lot of spots where we just kind of missed a little bit. So what was the ace-4 one? So they're saying, we should have folded the ace-4 pre-flop. To, what was it? It was so we opened on the button, then we had a 3-bet from the small blind. We should have folded on the button. Ace-5 is what we should be, the only thing we're calling with. Should have folded the ace-4. And then it's saying that we should have would 3-bet once we've gotten there. I think they were good against their range. From our button defend, we got some 10x maybe. I just don't really see that at all. Think that when it's queen high board, they slam that at a far higher frequency than us. Next blunder, queen jack hand, played it all perfectly well up until the turn. We should have gone with a higher flop sizing, about half pot instead of that 1/3 sizing. And then should have gone for a sizing to set up a river jam, create the SBR to the point where they're incentivized to pretty much call with any two. With pretty much anything they have. We're ranging them something very strong, which was the thought process behind sticking in a lot of the money. But then I can also hear the check back, try to incentivize them to bluff off at the end, give them rope in case they've just got air here, and there was just a 3-bet in order to balance out their 3-bet range on the flop. And then obviously pretty standard call when they shove there, with the redraw to the nuts, plus already having the second nuts in that situation. Next hand, very standard, good call from the button, facing a 3-bet from the big blind with our suited King Jack. So they're saying, what was it? So we should have just checked back on the flop after their check rather than going with about a 1/3 sizing. I do hear that in terms of it's a very monotone, dry static board. Unlikely to get stabbed. Want to keep their range nice and wide. Don't really want to isolate any of their value that's beating us. So yeah, I agree with the check back there. And then I definitely don't understand the calling 100% of the time here, because I just don't really see anything that we're beating that they would be 3-betting on the flop with. I can understand that, yeah, we don't want them to run over us, or we don't want them to have a very easy, if we just 3-bet on the flop, they're going to snap fold. But I just don't really see any value that we're beating. They're pretty much telegraphing, hey, we've got something really strong that we want to protect. Or maybe they're just trying to do it for value, thinking that we had something strong that we wanted to protect, even though we've, only really took that 1/5 sizing, and we should have, if we went a little bit bigger, I could understand that they would raise their flush then and now, or maybe they've got a very vulnerable flush that they don't want a 4 spade to come off, for example, because a strong flush would probably just do a standard call, try to keep us bluffing off, essentially. Because that's pretty much the only way they're going to get any value from King Jack on such a monotone board. But yeah, I believe that that's kind of just them letting us off the hook, essentially just screaming, hey, we've got something that we really want to protect. We've got jacks, we've got 10s, we've got 9s that were all very well within the big blind's 3-betting range there. And then maybe even like jack with the ace of spades, jack with the king of spades, for example, or even just any spade, even if it's below, even if they don't have a pair, still has a lot of equity against us as well. And that's pretty much the only value that we're beating, if you want to call that value. So yeah, I definitely just don't understand the call there at all. The next hand, they showed us way too much that they were disinterested in the pot. So yeah, they showed us way too much that they were disinterested in the pot. So at some point we should have, especially on the turn or the river, we should have at least taken a stab at it to try to take down what we perceive to be a weak ace-x, given that they didn't bet on a paired flop. That would be at a high frequency, stabbed at by a strong ace-x, given that they should be believing that they have the best hand majority of the time. So I hope you guys learned something. Enjoy the rest of your day, and as always, play well.